The number one question I get is how to be successful at anything, and I work with some of the wealthiest and most successful people on the planet. And there is one separating factor that you are not practicing today. Enjoy it. One of the most frustrating things for me while I was in college was knowing I wasn't making any money. And I just wanted everything right now. I graduated with $7 in my checking account and 17 in my savings. Now I know I wasn't broke. College was paid for, my car was paid off. I was okay. I was just hunting for a job, and I was trying really hard to get that job. And I was pretty impatient about it, to be honest. I was really willing to do anything to get the job of my dreams, to get a job on Wall Street, to live the lifestyle that I'm living today. And I was missing the piece that I want to talk about today that is going to save you so much time and frustration that really just pissed me off and had me drinking way too much. What's up, bro? So let me describe who I was when I was in college. You let me know if this sounds a little like you. I loved the gym, so I worked out 6 or 7 days a week. I would eat and binge eat at night, and then I would diet myself so hard the next couple days. I would fast. I would try to not drink anything that it wasn't water, and I was constantly doing this yo-yo approach to my diet, to my workouts, and to my life. I would go really hard at school, or I'd go really hard at networking, and then I would fall off. I wouldn't talk to a soul for a couple weeks, and I tracked absolutely nothing. And if you sound like me from when I was in college, well, boy, is this video going to help, because I'm going to save you all of the pain and suffering it took me to get to the point at which everything was measurable, everything was calculated, and it was a lot less painful to get to where I'm going. Oh. One of the biggest mistakes that I have always made is wasted motion. And when I was in college, and even after I left college and I was in the job at one of the largest global banks in the world, and I'm super blessed to be there and grateful that I ended up there, it was despite the fact that there was so much wasted motion in all the things I was doing. Now, I made sure that my resume was as colorful as possible, right? I was very active on campus, student athlete advisory committee, student government, football player, going to clubs, I was getting awards, and I was, humbly doing the most. But I was doing the most in a lot of different areas that I shouldn't have, where I was wasting my time because I was trying to figure it out. There's so many different ways to figure it out with less wasted motion. If you're feeling you're wasting your time or you're chasing too many rabbits at once, guess what? You probably are. And when you're chasing too many rabbits, you're likely to catch none. So one of the main things that we have to teach people is you gotta wait for all the good stuff, because life doesn't happen all at once. And something that I really didn't learn early on is that life isn't a day trade. You don't get to sub in and sub out and make a spread. You really have to put in, continue to daily deposit. And the whole thing that I really realized from working with people much wealthier than me, both in my job and the people that we work with, it took a long ass time for them to get to where they are. And it was hammering away at the same nail for long enough to where the nail split the wood and they broke it open. And so when you think about your career, when you think about your life, you have to live with conviction. And that takes delayed gratification. Knowing that you're going to get the good stuff way after you put in all the work. Oh. So delayed gratification, huh? You can apply that to investing, being a long-term investor. You can apply that to the gym. It's gonna take a long time to look the way you wanna look, and guess what? The first day in the gym is the last day you like the way you look. I wish I knew how much unnecessary work I was doing in the gym that was counterproductive and was hurting my gains, how little I was doing on sleeping, and how impatient I was with my body when it needed time. It didn't need anything else, it just needed time. And then I ended up crashing my testosterone, and if you guys want to see the story with that, we'll link it down below in the description box so you can watch how I ended up on TRT at 23. If you're trying to make gains in your career, if you're trying to change your trajectory of your income, right, your wealth gap, where you are today versus where you want to be in a few years, you need to have micro goals and macro goals, and you need to have micro urgency and macro patience. See, the thing that I've really learned is that life is about sprinting in those straightaways and jogging in the turns. And what we really need to understand is that life is going to have phases, right? And they're going to become natural. They're going to have cadences. And when you need to sprint is when you need to focus up and focus on one thing and sprint. And when you need to find your pivot point is when you start to hit the corner, you need to jog and assess. And you need to understand that for yourself, which is a lot of self-reflection. Understanding at what phase in the game you are running your race. See, we could use alliteration and draw the comparisons of when you need to be fast and when you need to have finesse. When you need to have speed, you need to have sophistication. When you need to be quick, or when you need to be quiet. There's a lot of different times at which you need to shut your mouth and keep your ears open. And there's a lot of different times at which you need to act fast. You need to be able to deliberately act to get what you want. But the one thing you need to do is have a method to the madness, a spreadsheet, something to track. And a lot of people who are looking for jobs or looking for opportunities within their job, right? Prospecting, looking for new business, trying to acquire new assets or new business lines or a new reoccurring customer. You need to track that. Be measurable. Create a system, a CRM. I like to think of the drip process, right? Everything I do is a drip. I am trying to keep people in front of me as much as I'm trying to stay in front of them. And if I'm not dripping on them with a value, some piece of information that's going to help them, a conversation to deepen the relationship, or an interaction that makes them feel like I care about them. Because I do. I care about the people that I'm working on. They are my passion project. Every single one of them is somebody that I want to help. And luckily, I work at a place that fosters the best opportunity to help people and do it for the highest level of people and the most sophistication possible. And how you're going to get there is also by being deliberate about tracking and measuring who it is that you're targeting, whether you align with the roles and the obligations, the responsibilities, and the criteria that they look for in that, and then how you find people within that opportunity to help you get in, right? The people that are going to pull you in the door because they see something in you. The easiest way to practice delayed gratification is actually enjoying the process. I talk about embrace the chase, talk about the journey over the destination. You have to enjoy the hunt, man. If you don't enjoy hunting for whatever it is that you're hunting for, guess what? Whatever you end up on the end of the hunt is not worth it. You're gonna end up hating it. And I definitely think it's really important to be purposeful about the hunt, what it is that you're looking for, right? Casting a wide net at first, for sure. Pinpointing exactly what you want, exactly what you're after, and being relentless about it, right? That relentless execution of the daily grind of trying to get there. Setting up your CRM system, setting up your opportunity list, tracking and measuring, being deliberate about the chase is going to help you embrace the chase because there's going to be a lot more reward at the end of the day. But if you don't really like what it is that you're trying to chase, you need to change, man. So something I'm teaching everybody in the mentorship and Savage Industry right now is how to create short-term and long-term goals. But we work on a 90-day sprint. Okay? Every quarter we want to accomplish something. We want it to be very tangible. So we have 7, 30, and 90-day goals. 7-day sprints, 30-day objectives, and a 90-day goal. What we want to achieve over 90 days is set up entirely by what we're doing every single month and every single week, right? So we have 3 main pillars. We have the personal, the professional, and the people. The personal is how we're working on ourselves. The professional are our career objectives, and the people are the people that are gonna help us to build both our personal and our professional, right? Who is in our winner's circle? Who are we adding and subtracting based off of the value they add or the value they take? And how we're going to continue to revise our strategy every 90 days to get to our ultimate end goal, which is fulfillment, happiness, and success. End of the day, everybody just wants to be happy, have a little bit of money in their pocket, and be able to be free to do what the hell they want to do, right? You just need to figure out how to get there. Let's work it backwards. Let's pick a goal. Let's pick an objective. The wealth gap. How we want to create the least amount of gap between where we are today and where we want to end up, and what are the steps to get there. Oof. Oof. A guy in my office, and this is part of the reason why I love working in the finance industry, working with the people I work with at the firm that I work with. He told me, very simple thing, Nelson Mandela once said, I don't lose, I just have wins and lessons. And that really spoke to me, right? Because very recently, I had what I felt like was a big loss. I started studying for the Certified Exit Planning Accreditation through the Exit Planning Institute, and it's a core part of our business right now. It's something that I'm doing very actively. I'm a part of all those conversations, those transactions, those people, those clients. And I felt like, okay, I'm 28 years old, I'm early in my career, and I'm young and I can make the space, right? It gets a lot harder to study for exams the further away from college you get. And honestly, I don't really need anything in my career as 3 letters next to my name to be successful at it. A lot of people told me that the CFP stands for can't effing produce. And so I kind of took that and said, okay, I don't really need any certifications. I already know how to do the FP part, so why do you need to certify me? Because I've done 100 of them, right? So when you think about certifications, and the way I thought about it was, what is gonna create the most knowledge for me to maybe bridge that gap? So I started studying for the Certified Exit Planning exam, and I ended up trying to force it down my throat over 10 days. I didn't have enough time to study for it. The business is busy as hell. On top of the fact that right now I am car shopping because my car got totaled, and I've had a very busy July. So suffice it to say, there wasn't a lot of room to add studying 4 hours a day. And so with 20 hours of module work, a whole book to read twice to make sure that you know everything in it, what I did learn was that significance is a hell of a lot more important than success. And the goal shouldn't be success as much as it should be significance. And what's significant about the experience I just had was that it really lit the light bulb in my head that every time that I've failed in life, I've come back so much stronger and I've done so much better in all the things that I'm pursuing, that every failure is really just a lesson. It's not a loss in the loss column. It is actually going to help you build the next win. So every time that you fail and every time that you find you are struggling or you are not meeting your objectives or you're failing, make sure that you're just failing forward. Because the last thing you want to do is fall in the same place you are today. And if you continue to fall in the same place today because you're not pushing yourself to fail, well, then you're not going to create any progress. When I think about delayed gratification and I think about how you progress in your life, it's that you understand there's a process and you're going to fail and it's going to take time, but that you aren't afraid of creating those failures for yourself, of applying that pressure to yourself to perform. So delayed gratification really comes from the understanding that you're going to fall a lot of times, but you're going to get up a lot more times, hopefully, if you have it in your heart that this is what you want to do. So don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid of delayed gratification. Don't be afraid of the work that is in between you and the success of your dreams, of the things that you want in your life. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe and join the Savage in a Suit community. Everybody who is in there is absolutely dominating the rest of their life. And it is so exciting to work one-on-one with these guys and have everybody in the community join our monthly calls with all of the industry leaders and thought leaders that we have joining every single month. And boy, are we building something special with a community of savages in my winner's circle. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.